Hello students, welcome to RD Chemistry. In this video, I will explain some of the graphs which are important from the NCERT textbook. So let us start now. Let us start with the first one, that is the Henry's law. Okay, we have got Henry's law. What is Henry's law? According to Henry's law, the partial pressure of the gas above the surface of the liquid directly proportional to mole fraction of the same gas in the liquid, or actual formula is P is equal to KH. KH is a Henry's constant into the mole fraction X. Okay. Now see here, the partial pressure directly proportional to the mole fraction. Suppose I try to plot the graph, say along the y-axis, let me take a partial pressure of the HCl from the textbook it is, versus mole fraction of the same HCl gas, okay, along the x-axis. X stands for the mole fraction, small letter x. Since they are proportional to each other, so we get a straight line passing through the origin. So this is the graph we are going to get. Okay, right? Suppose I plot y is equal to mx plus c. Y is along that. Y is there like a partial pressure along the y-axis. Then we have got mx plus c. There is no intercept 0. Mx will be equal to, if you take the actual formula, kh, okay, into x. So x and y varying, x and p is varying here. So the slope will be equal to the increase constant kh value. Okay, right? Next graph using the Raoult's law. Raoult's law and the Dalton's law. Dalton's law for the liquid in liquid mixtures, and both the liquids are say volatile. Okay, so we have, according to Raoult's law, P1 is directly proportional to x1, correct, and P2 is directly proportional to x2, correct. So using the Dalton's law, total pressure of the mixture of the two liquids, so it is a P1 plus P2, correct. So we have got Pt is equal to, what is P1 actually? P1 actually it is equal to, according to Raoult's law, P1 naught into x1 plus P2 naught into x2. Suppose I plot the graph for this. Okay, so let me plot the graph like this from the textbook itself. So okay, so that's okay. So x1 is equal to, let me take 1. You know that x1 plus x2 is equal to, should be 1, correct? So let me take pure component 1 and assume x2 is x2 is equal to 0 here, right? So pure component state, right? Now whenever pure component is there, let the vapor pressure equal to P1 naught, pure state. Okay. So what will happen now? Suppose you go on adding x2, say x2 goes on increases. This side, say assume x1 is equal to 0 and x2 become equal to 1. So what will happen now? As the second component goes on increases, so what will happen? The partial pressure of the A in the mixture will go on decreases like this. Do the same thing here also. Here it is the x2 is equal to 1. So let it be P2 naught somewhere here. So if you add one more component, the vapor pressure of the second component goes on decrease in the mixture when you go around. Okay, like this. So now this one here in between, you have got x1 plus x2 should be equal to how much? 1, correct? So somewhere here. So this is a P1, this is P2. When you add the two, I should get the total. So it should be somewhere here Pt is equal to P1 plus P2. On these lines, this is the P2 and this is the P1 corresponding, correct? And the extreme corners we have a P1 naught and P2 naught. Clear, right? Next one we have got elevation of boiling point. Elevation of boiling point, correct? Boiling point. Okay. So let me draw the graph directly. So I'll go for the vapor pressure. So this is the vapor pressure and this is the temperature. Let me take in terms of Kelvin scale. So let me take atmosphere pressure, 1 atmosphere, or it is equal to 1.013 in terms of bar, correct? So this should be the pressure, okay? Okay, atmosphere pressure. So now let me take a pure solvent like water. So I'll take, say, this is the room temperature and corresponding, and we have got corresponding, say, okay, room temperature and vapor pressure. I will increase the temperature. When I increase the temperature, vapor goes on increases, correct? Increases. Okay, and it will touch this 1 atmosphere, okay, straight line, correct? So this is the pure solvent, the pure solvent. So this is the boiling point of the pure solvent like water. So boiling point is that temperature at which vapor pressure become equal to 1 atmosphere, and this is the corresponding the boiling temperature. The T. Okay, let me take B, boiling, not pure solvent. Now to this solvent add solute becomes solution, correct? Becomes solution. When I add the solute into the solvent becomes solution, then its vapor pressure actually decreases. I want to boil that liquid now from the room temperature. So what will happen? As the temperature increases, the uh, vaporization also increases, vapor pressure increases, and it will finally boil at the temperature which is actually the greater that of the previous value. Let it be TB. Okay, got it? So now boiling point of the solution increases. So that now difference is there. This difference is called the delta TB. Okay, so that is called the elevation, the boiling point. Clear? Right? Next, we have got depression, the freezing point. Okay, let me take the vapor pressure along the y-axis, and let me take temperature in terms of Kelvin scale along the x-axis. Let me take a pure solvent like water. Okay, say somewhere at room temperature we got vapor pressure. I need to freeze it, so I should decrease the temperature. When I decrease the temperature, vapor goes on decreases. Read somewhere here. If I take assume the pure solvent taken is water at this temperature, okay, so it will start freezing. So for water, you know that is 0 degree centigrade. So this is the freezing point of the water. Let me take in general solvent. So initially we have got liquid solvent, correct? Liquid solvent. One becomes ice. After that we have got frozen solvent. Again you decrease the temperature. When you decrease temperature, so there's a little change in the graph. You are going to get like this. So this is a frozen solvent or solid solvent. Solid solvent it is. Okay, solid solvent. Now, to this pure, I'll come back to the room temperature somewhere here and I'll add some solute. When I add this solute to make a solution, its vapor pressure decreases somewhere here. I need to freeze the solution now. So what will happen? I'll decrease the temperature. I'll decrease the temperature. I'm going to get a straight. I'm going to get a curve that will touch this second graph. Okay, at this point. So this is the freezing point of the solution now. I'll get delta. So I'll get TF. I'll get just. Okay, understood? So what is the freezing point of the any substance? Freezing point is that temperature at which the vapor pressure of the solution becomes equal to that of the uh, pure solvent. Clear? Right? So this difference, whatever difference is there, this is called the delta TF. Right? Okay. Next one from electrochemistry. So I'm going to plot now the molar conductivity versus the concentration. The concentration to be used is the square root of the concentration. Okay, for strong electrolyte and for the weak electrolyte. Okay, to find out finally the molar conductivity zero dilution or infinite dilution. Infinite dilution can also be done like lambda m infinity. So let me draw that one. Sorry for the graph. Okay, somewhat like this. Okay. So here we have got a lambda m, and here we have got concentration square root to the constant or c to the power half. So if I take the strong electrolyte like potassium chloride, for strong electrolytes, okay, as the dilution goes on increases, when you add more and more, concentration decreases, dilution increases. So what will happen? Molar conductivity goes on increases. Molar conductivity goes on increases like this. Okay, like this. Molar conductivity goes on increases. When the dilution takes place, concentration decreases. Suppose I extrapolate this one. Okay, on the y-axis, I'm going to get lambda m0 or lambda m infinity. So I can find out the molar conductivity infinite dilution from the graph here. This is for the potassium chloride. If I take a weak electrolyte like acetic acid CH3, COOH, then what will happen? Graph won't be similar. So we get a graph like this. Okay, it increases, and suddenly increases like this. So this is for the acetic acid. So this graph will not touch the y-axis. That means we cannot calculate lambda m infinity or 0 for weak electrolytes. Okay. And for that reason, we are going to make use of Kohlrausch law to find out the limiting molar conductivity for weak electrolytes, which can also be applied for the strong electrolytes. Yeah, when you derive the integrated rate equation for zero order reaction, we come across this one. R is equal to R naught minus K into T. Correct? No? So we have got, if I plot R along the y-axis, then if I plot the time along the x-axis, so I'm going to get a straight line of the form y is equal to mx minus mx plus c. Okay, so therefore if I plot this one here, okay, along y-axis the concentration of r, and along x-axis let me take time, I'm going to get a straight line. See the nature of this straight line, minus mx is there, so slope is negative, I'll get a straight line. So whatever this intercept is there, this intercept is called as the r naught, c, right? R naught it is. Suppose I try to plot the, okay, graph and find out the slope. The slope is equal to minus x, correct? Minus m here. Slope is minus m, which is equal to k here, correct? K here, or k is equal to minus m. Okay, so this minus m is equal to k, or k is equal to minus slope I can write. Okay, or slope is equal to minus k, whatever it is. Other way around also. Okay, right? And for first order, we have got, okay, from the integrated equation, ln r, start with the ln r, correct, is equal to minus kt plus ln r naught. Similar to that of the zero order, in the previous case, ln was not there. In the first order, ln was there. Ln or log will come here. Okay. So, ln r along the y-axis, and the t time is there. Let me go for the x-axis, and m like minus mx plus c. This is a constant value. So I'll plot that one now. So along the y-axis ln r, and along the x-axis the time interval is a straight line, and slope is negative. So I should get a straight line like this. So this is the intercept. This intercept is equal to ln r naught. And suppose I plot the slope for this. So slope will be equal to minus m, that is equal to minus k, or k is equal to minus slope. Okay, right? Now, continuation of this first order integrated equation, we can also write log r naught divided by r. Okay, so if I go for the actual one, 2.303 divided by t log r naught by r is equal to constant k, correct? So what I'll do now, I'll take log r naught divided by r is equal to k into t divided by 2.303, correct? So this is a variable. If r is variable, log r naught by r is also variable. So it is y. And time interval is there. So let me take along the x-axis mx. But nothing is there. Other side plus 0 plus 0. Intercept is 0 here. So if I plot that graph, so along the y-axis, let me take log r naught divided by r versus the time. So I should get a straight line, correct? Now see the straight line. What is the nature of the straight line? Y is equal to mx plus c. So no intercept. That means passes through the origin. So if I try to take the slope would be equal to k divided by 2.303. Okay, fine. And if you check for Arrhenius equation, k is equal to a into e to the power minus a divided by rt. Right? So take ln on both the side. Ln k is equal to ln a minus a divided by rt. Okay. So you know that as temperature changes, the rate constant k also changes. So the temperature and k can be variable. So ln k and temperature here. I can write this one. Ln k is equal to ln a minus a divided by r, okay, into I'll write 1 by t. So 1 by t temperature along the x-axis, this will be mx minus c, this is equal to along y-axis ln k. So if I plot the graph for this, okay, along the y-axis ln k, let me go for, okay, and 1 by t along the x-axis, I should get a straight line, okay, this kind of straight line, and the slope is a negative, and this intercept, whatever intercept is there, that is equal to ln e, intercept ln e, and slope of this one is equal to negative slope, correct? It is equal to minus CA divided by RT. Sorry, divided by R. Okay, clear? From the surface chemistry, we have got a Freundlich adsorption isotherm, correct? Freundlich adsorption isotherm we have got. Okay, So according that one, x by m is equal to kp to the power 1 by n. We take a log on both the sides. So I'll write logarithm form. Log x by m is equal to log k. K is a constant here. 1 by n log p. Correct? N by log p. Correct? So x by m is the extent of adsorption versus the pressure. Generally, as pressure increases, adsorption also increases. So what I'll do now, I'll take this along the y-axis and pressure, log pressure. So along the x-axis, so this will be y mx plus c, correct? So if I plot the graph along the y-axis, log x by m versus log p, it would be correct. So I should get a straight line. Can you see the straight line? Y is mx plus c, but negative slope is not there. Negative signs are not there. I should get a straight line like this, and this is the intercept. This intercept is equal to log k, a constant k. And if I find out the slope would be equal to 1 by n. Slope is 1 by n. And intercept is how much? This is the usual question that are asked actually. Intercept is equal to log k. Clear? Right? Yeah, students, I try to cover some of the important graphs for the KCET examination. If you like this video, please do subscribe, share, and please write down the comments. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day and good luck for your KCET exam. Thank you.